Do begin with that flight disappearing in midair as it flew to Beijing. Look at behind me tonight. This is the flight tracker that showed that flight taking off from Malaysia. In fact, you can see some of the other planes up on this. Take a look right here in the middle there. That's flight 370. Track showing it flying at 35,000 feet when suddenly the track stops. The data from the flight, communications from the cockpit gone. The altitude on the tracker suddenly plummeting to zero. And tonight, the images emerging from the airport in Beijing, the families waiting and then learning something had gone terribly wrong. A man putting his hand to his forehead, a loved one there holding on to him. And back where the plane took off in Malaysia, this image of a woman on the phone as the shock set in there as well. We do have team coverage on the investigation tonight, beginning with ABC's Bob Woodruff, who is at the Beijing airport to lead us off here. Bob, good evening.
Good evening, David. Yes, this has been, as you can imagine, a very difficult time for these family members and these friends of those who were supposed to land here in Beijing on that plane, but it didn't happen.
Searchers are focusing on two oil slicks, one 12 miles long, spotted in the South China Sea between Malaysia and Vietnam. The U.S. is sending this destroyer and a plane to help, but there have been no signs of wreckage or debris. The disappearance of the flight with 239 aboard is now a baffling and tragic mystery. What we do know is at 12:41 a.m. local time, Malaysia Airlines flight Boeing 777 takes off from Kuala Lumpur. 2:40 a.m. the plane is cruising at 35,000 feet when it loses radar contact where the South China Sea meets the Gulf of Thailand. No distress call is ever received. 6:30 a.m. anxious family members await the plane's expected landing in Beijing. 2 hours go by before the plane is declared missing.
No news, no nothing, so still waiting.
At this hotel room, family members gathered in tears. I don't want to live. What is the point of me being alive, says this mother, whose 40-year-old son was on board the plane. By the time the company's officials came out to talk, hundreds of people had poured in, creating a dangerous situation in the hotel.
Out of control here. I just can't even believe this.
We are working with authorities who have activated the search and rescue.
There have been no claims of terrorism, but reports say two passengers on the plane were traveling on passports stolen from European travelers in recent months. 3 U.S. citizens were on board. 2 were children of Chinese parents. The only U.S. adult, Philip Wood, is thought to be an IBM executive who worked in Malaysia. 2/3 of the passengers were Chinese, the rest from 13 other countries. The captain, Zahari Ahmad Shah, 53, was very experienced, having flown over 30 years and 18,000 hours for Malaysia Airlines.
It is Sunday morning now here in Beijing. The family members, the friends are waiting for more information about exactly what happened on that plane, but it is taking some time.
Semiconductor, that's the company that had 20 employees based in China, based in Malaysia, that were on this plane that were all killed.
Go on.
Freescale Semiconductor, this is on March 3rd, last Monday. Freescale Semiconductor, a global leader in radio frequency power transistors, in other words, RFID, today announced the availability of 11 new commercial RF products that can meet the requirements of the U.S. defense electronics applications. This is the first set of products released as a part of the company's strategic defense initiatives for its RF power business announced in June 2013. And it goes on to talk a little bit more about, defense customers and this other thing. But I have to really wonder whether this is a new product. It was launched. It was for the Defense Department. What connection do these employees there have, and perhaps did they decide that they didn't want people in foreign countries that have this knowledge, and if that's all connected to it?
All 20 employees were on the plane?
There were 20 employees on the plane that were from this company. They were all from China and Malaysia, because the company's global.
Right.
But the fact is, it's a defense contractor that just launched a new product. Well, it seems clear that a number of these people gathered in one place to announce, were part of that product announcement over the week, and then they were flying back. And, it seems to me that Well, I mean, it's a complicated thing because there's several companies. You know, it's a big company, and you don't know what product they were really working on. But the fact that they announced a new product, and then they had a large group of people traveling, which tends to coincide with like product launches.
Right.
I find that very interesting.